Yo, what's poppin', my 420 army? It's your boy Miley in 420, and yeah, I'm putting out a more positive type video aside from my angry rants on the cars that I killed line. But basically, I figured I'd start doing some GTA 6 speculation stuff. But this video, I'm gonna go a little further, or at least try to go further into my prediction that Raul Bautista or Raul, or however you pronounce his name, is going to betray Jason and Lucia at some point during the storyline. And yeah, that's basically my prediction so far. He's gonna betray them, like, and then yeah. So basically, I'll kind of like discuss like his role in the story too, and what will eventually lead to the betrayal. But basically, so at some point after Jason bails Lucia out of prison, or she gets out on probation, or whatever we see in the second trailer. But point is, once Lucia and Jason decide they're gonna start like actually robbing banks and all that, and they'll probably start with some like small robberies as we see in the second trailer. But once we actually like, and then they'll eventually end up meeting Raul sometime during the future, like whether he ends up calling them on like through like a phone. Like I'm gonna use the remote because my actual phone is charging, and I for whatever reason do not have my old iPad that's broken out. So let's just pretend like he and then because we even see a screenshot of him on a phone. So who knows? Maybe yeah, this one. Oh shit! Forgot to zoom out my screen. There we go. That's better. This screenshot right here, he's on a phone, so he could probably call either Lucia or Jason through like an unknown number, or he meets one of them beforehand and he calls the other, kind of like the by the book mission in GTA 5. So when they introduce him, or he calls them both, they're both in a like because we've seen multiple scenes where Lucia and Jason are in like hotel rooms or motel rooms, but Raul calls them through an unknown number, and then whoever answers it, like, who the fuck is this? The guy who wants to help you get money in a way. Meet me at this location. Yes, I'm using my Draco Jackson voice for Raul since we don't know what he's actually going to sound like. And it looks like Jason Momoa is playing Raul. I'm just going to say he kind of looks like Jason Momoa, who was recently in Fast and Furious 10. But basically, they meet up and then yeah, I'm kind of showing you screenshots again. So maybe he'll like he'll probably like help them with some of the robberies they end up doing throughout the story. And then they'll probably like drop some like hidden signs behind his betrayal. And yes, I know I showed these already, but this looks like a city in Cuba, so maybe he might show some criminal activity with him on his little boat here. So just kind of getting like a tour. His He looks kind of snug. I would assume that he might end up having like a Devin Weston type attitude, but obviously make him like miles better than Devin Weston because Raul looks scary. He looks scary and menacing, so that's a plus. He looks like he could be dangerous. So whereas Devin Weston just was like a shitty twist villain, so that's already a step upgrade. And we already seen the GIF, but then that's him in a suit. So maybe like after I've done a couple missions with him, Lucia and Jason will end up like scoping out the bank, which we see in the second trailer here. They're robbing the Sin Frontiera National Bank, so they end up teaming up to rob this bank, as you can see from like the outfits they're wearing. Because this will load, and then because if we go to the GIF here, you can clearly see Lucia and Jason in the background, and they look like they're wearing the outfits. Or Lucia looks like she's wearing the same mask. I'm pretty sure that's Jason there in the back, but we don't actually see his face, so it's kind of hard to tell whether or not it's Jason. But we can already tell that's Lucia, even though because someone on Discord was saying that looks like a different hairstyle. It's like, yeah, well, Lucia will have customizable hair in the game, so and that looks like a carbine rifle Mark II, or I don't know, some sort of carbine rifle type weapon. So it would be nice if Mark II weapons came back in the game, but yeah. Anyway, so we're at the bank heist. They do like the initial setup. for this heist where they like scope out the bank and then they have to get like all the, and then obviously you'll have to do like all the preps and that. I'm guessing this might have multiple approaches to it. It might not if they're going to continue doing the heist formula they did from GTA 5. So yeah, because I do want the game to have at least one customizable heist, like I've said before. So whether this is a customizable one, we choose the approaches. If not, I would assume we can probably still choose our crew members. So they probably bring a couple of gunmen along with them, and maybe even a hacker, so they have time inside the bank. I would assume they would have a hacker with them, so they have time in the bank. But and possibly a driver too. So then you would go off, steal the getaway car, and as well as all the other stuff you need, like the hardware and shit. But then when we're actually robbing the bank, you would actually stash the car near the bank, and then once they're outside, they shoot through the cops, and then once they actually get into the parking garage, here's what I'm predicting how Raul will betray them. He gets into the car, and then he might say this quote, "Life is full of surprises, my friend. I think we'll all be wise to remember that." Probably talking to either Lucia or Jason, and then he just drives off without them, and then Jason and Lucia. And it could also help with the gunmen that you choose for this mission could also depend. Like, if you choose 2 bad gunmen, even though I'm against heist crew members dying, they wouldn't actually be dying, they'd just be betraying Jason and Lucia. If you have 2 bad gunmen, one will go with Raul, then the other will stay with Lucia and Jason, help them fight to find another escape route. If you have 1 good gunman and 1 bad, the bad will go with Raul, and then if you have 2 good gunmen, then both gunmen will help Lucia and Jason escape. So it's kind of like that explosion in the covert in the fire crew entry for the Bureau raid, except the crew member doesn't die, he just betrays the protagonist. So I could totally imagine, like, if they bring back Norm Richards, it's like, I'm going with the professional. Raul here is good as Michael Townley. And Daryl's like, yeah, you guys are jokes. Raul here is the best. And then they drive off. And Lucia and Jason are like, that motherfucker, he betrayed us. It's like, yeah, that's the thing. That's how this would work. But anyways, we'll scroll down a bit. There was another scene that they showed in the second trailer where Lucia is shooting a grenade. Aha, here it is. Lucia in the back of a moving bus firing a grenade launcher at killing police vehicles on a highway. So I'm guessing here is that if they end up hiring like a backup driver, they end up hiring a driver, the driver shows up in the bus, and then Lucia's at the back shooting grenades at the cops while they're being chased. That's how I could see this mission playing out. Or I could also imagine some funny dialogue with a bad driver on this mission. It's like, this driver, like, either where Jason says, yeah, this driver isn't, it's like, why did we have to get a cheap driver for this? And then Lucia tells him, keep in mind he was only supposed to be a backup. If Raul had duped on us, we wouldn't have needed him. It's like with the chopper crash in the roof entry for the Bureau raid for GTA 5, but yeah, that's how I'm predicting will happen. They'll be doing like a bank heist together. So if I had to guess, this mission would be somewhere around the end of Chapter 4, or even the start of Chapter 5. So that's where I'm predicting Raul's betrayal will be. So yep, that's like my speculation on how he betrays them. But then Lucia and Jason will hopefully still get their cuts, because obviously I don't want a heist like the Merryweather heist in GTA 5 where the characters don't get paid at all. So hopefully Jason and Lucia still have their, well, I mean, if they still have the bags on them when Raul drives off, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So yeah, again, this is just speculation, so you can speculate all you want on how you think Raul will betray Jason and Lucia. And if this actually ends up happening, I'm going to replay the game again to look for like all the early hidden signs, and then maybe see if I can, and see if the professional ends up doing a lore video on this, like how he did with Big Smoke and Ryder betraying CJ in GTA San Andreas. But yeah, and of course Lucia and Jason will be happy with Raul, and then Raul will be absent for the rest of the game until like the very last mission. Well, again, and then once we get to the actual end of the game, which I might do a separate video on how the endings will play out. But what I'm guessing is that Lucia and Jason, like, assuming they have an ending where Jason decides to team up with Lucia instead of breaking up with her, or basically they team up and decide to kill all their enemies, and then it ends with them getting engaged. That's why I'm hoping for a good ending, because I don't want to kill Lucia or kill Jason ending. But and also, it kind of depends. The ending also kind of depends on if they continue GTA 5's trend of having all the major antagonists killed in the same mission, or if they do something different where they don't kill all the villains in the same mission. Which, I mean, it would be kind of cool to see a Bonnie and Clyde story ending with all the major villains being killed in the same mission. So that's why I'm thinking once they've killed off all the other major villains, like the unnamed cop guy who's Steve Haynes, who's basically who's going to be this game's version of Steve Haynes from GTA 5. That's what I'm predicting, because he's a corrupt cop and Haynes was a corrupt FBI agent, so, or FIB agent, but yeah. Or they just end up sniping Raul when he's just kind of bathing in all his money. It's like, ha ha, I double-crossed those chumps, and all the money from the bank is mine. And he's just celebrating. I'm an experienced bank robber. And then that's when we can just shoot Raul in the head, or find some way to kill him, just like blow him up somehow. That's what I'm expecting for a good ending, but yeah, that's pretty much it on how I think Raul will play out during the story, and why I think he will betray Lucia and Jason at some point during the game. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think Raul will betray Jason and Lucia, might be the main villain of the game, or do you think he's going to remain on the good guy's side and that he won't betray them? We're going to have some other, like, big menacing villain, and yeah, that's basically it for this video, because obviously, oh yeah, I'll just show my proof of, oh yeah, and then also there's this image here with him, where he has all that money in his car after he drives off. And he's just laughing that he betrayed Lucia and Jason, and now they're gonna get arrested. But unbeknownst to him, they escape. So yeah, and obviously Raul doesn't know that they aren't actually back in jail. So yeah, that's really it for this video. And please like, comment, share, sub, peace.